Hi, everyone. My name is Ting, and I lead product marketing for LinkedIn Pages. It is so great to be here with all of you today. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we'll be discussing LinkedIn virtual events, which we just launched literally a week ago, last Tuesday. And I'll be sharing with you how these solutions may have the potential to transform your overall marketing strategy. So to start for today, I'd like to share with you our agenda. We're going to begin by introducing our lovely LinkedIn team members who've joined us today live. I'll then go over some context on why we have built LinkedIn virtual solutions and really prioritized it on our roadmap. Then we'll have a chance to go through a live demo with our product manager on how you should use LinkedIn events on the platform. And then finally, we're going to pass the baton over to you guys in the audience so that we can hear what's top of mind for all of you. Now, please keep in mind, we want to keep this an interactive session, and we'd love to hear from you guys. So please leave your comments and questions in the chat, and I'll be checking in throughout the stream. Also, we want to get a better sense of where you guys are all dialed in from. So please take some time and just chime in with which city you're dialing in from, and I'll be sure to share as we go further into the event. All right. Now to start, I'd love to begin by introducing our lovely LinkedIn team members. Let's start first by introducing Liz, who is our Director of Product Management. Liz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Lee, and I'm a Director of Product here at LinkedIn on our growth team. I'm super excited to show you guys what we've built with LinkedIn virtual events. And I'm coming to you from Los Altos, California.
Nice. Thanks, Liz. We're in neighboring cities. I'm coming to you guys from Palo Alto. And next up, I'd love to introduce Ainsley Blanford, who is our customer marketer for LinkedIn Talent Solutions. Ashley, could you please tell us a bit more about yourself and your role at LinkedIn?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ainsley Blanford. I work on the global customer marketing team for LinkedIn Talent Solutions, and I am dialing in from Walnut Creek, California.
Thanks so much, Ainsley. And then finally, I'd like to pass it over to Sam Riley, who is our Senior Event Marketing Manager for Glint. Sam, can you please share with us some more about your role?
Yeah, of course. Thanks. So I'm Sam Riley, a Senior Event Marketing Manager for Glint. For those who don't know, Glint joined the LinkedIn family in November of 2018. So we're very excited to be part of this team. And I'm joining you from San Francisco.
Nice. Thank you so much, ladies. Well, I'm so excited that you guys are all here today. And what I'd like to do now is actually really focus the discussion on what LinkedIn virtual events is all about and why we prioritized it on our roadmap. And so just taking a step back, right? We're living through some incredibly challenging times right now. I don't need to tell any of you that. I'm sure you guys all know we're hearing about it every day. We're living in it. And many of us all over the world have been personally impacted by COVID-19. And also many of us are feeling a bit isolated and alone. And so what this all goes to show is that relationships, they really matter. They matter now more than they've ever mattered before. And we collectively need to feel like we're part of something, connected to something bigger than just ourselves, a community. So that's why I'm incredibly excited to announce that we've launched a portfolio of solutions to help connect people and bring those communities together meaningfully and safely on our platform. So with our LinkedIn virtual events portfolio, we actually offer 2 solutions to help you host virtual events on our platform. The first of which you might already be familiar with is LinkedIn Live. Now, LinkedIn Live, what it allows you to do is it allows brands and members to stream live content directly from their page or their profile. And it's actually really incredible for top funnel marketing where you're really focused on driving brand awareness and viewership with a wide audience. Now, Live is actually best for this because it can be discovered pretty easily by anyone and has an opportunity to go viral. Some great examples of how brands are leveraging LinkedIn Live today is they're hosting Q&As with their executive team, or they're also hosting guest panels to discuss hot topics in their industry. So those are just a couple examples. Our second new solution that we're going to get a demo of today is LinkedIn Events. Now, this is where brands and members can create their own events on our platform. They can make those events public or private. They can invite their personal network to attend, and they can stream content live and engage audiences directly from their event page, which is pretty awesome. Now, a primary difference here that you really want to pay attention to between LinkedIn Live and events is that whereas LinkedIn Live is discoverable by anyone and best for top funnel marketing, LinkedIn Events is really best for mid-funnel marketing, where brands can strengthen relationships with audiences that might already be familiar with their brand, so they can drive them down the funnel to take a specific action. Now, one thing I want to call out with events is that unlike LinkedIn Live, it can't be discovered by just anyone. Only those who you have invited and say they're going to attend will be able to see the content, which is really why it's best for mid-funnel. Now, some top use cases we've already seen for LinkedIn events are industry-focused events, account-based marketing events, as well as webinars with your prospective customers or existing customers. In fact, I have some really exciting news to share is that our own LinkedIn marketing team has actually conducted several webinars already through LinkedIn events. And we found that our average watch time for our webinars is 56 minutes. Now, that's a pretty incredible benchmark for average watch time. If you can keep someone engaged for almost an hour, I call that a win. And so that just goes to show how engaging of a space we've created for both our brands and our members. Now, I do want to share that if you're looking for best practices on how to make the most of these features and host events on our platform, we'll be discussing that in our Q&A, and we'll be sharing links to our best practices site and playbooks at the end of the event. So please stay tuned. All right, so now I'd love to share a video with you guys to provide you an overview of what these solutions can do. That was awesome. So hopefully you guys get a sense of what the experience looks like within the product and also an idea of the kind of value you'll get from using each of these solutions. Now, before I pass it over to Liz to walk through a demo of the event solution, I just want to do a quick check-in and actually see where all of you guys are dialed in from today. So this is awesome. We have a very global audience. I see we have folks from Singapore, from Turkey, from Cape Town, Dubai, as well as Seattle. So thank you guys so much for joining us. This is really exciting to see. All right, now I'm actually going to pass it over to Liz, who's going to walk us through a live product demo of how to use events on our platform and really bring it to life. Over to you, Liz.
Thanks, Ting. So Ting covered a couple solutions that we have available, LinkedIn Live and LinkedIn Events. And so just to reiterate, LinkedIn Live helps organizations drive tremendous reach and brand awareness by bringing their professional community together via a public and widely discoverable event. LinkedIn Events, on the other hand, helps organizations deepen their relationships with target audiences by bringing their professional community together via invitations on LinkedIn. So you want to think of it as a place where you can build excitement going up to your event, have social chatter during, and then also build and continue that persistent community after. And so when you use LinkedIn Live and LinkedIn Events together, it allows marketers to stream live video directly to their event page and their event attendees, much like we're doing now, and has built-in notification reminders leading up to the event and at the start of the live stream. Again, some of those reminders and notifications you all should have received as well for this event. So for those that who are approved for LinkedIn Live, the process is simple, right? You create an event, you designate that it's online only, and on the day of the event, you'll open your third-party broadcast tool and select the event as the stream destination rather than your organization's page. And then all your event attendees will be notified at the start of the stream. And currently, the third-party tools that we integrate with are Restream, StreamYard, Wirecast, and Social Live. And Wowza is coming soon. So great, let's go ahead and dive into the product itself. And I will show you how to get started hosting events on our platform. We also noticed that there are a bunch of questions in the event feed, so I'll try to answer some of them as I go through the demo itself. So, excuse me. What you see on the screen right now is a page admin view of a company called Golden Phase. So that's the very first step, which is to get set up as a page admin for your organization or your page. If you don't yet have access, please talk to your social media managers to get that access to the LinkedIn company page. So you'll see that I'm a page admin here, and in the top right, you'll see admin tools with a new badge. And if you click into here, you'll see another new badge highlighting the ability to create an event. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let's say that Golden Phase wants to create an event much like the one that we're hosting now. And immediately what you'll see when this event creation form comes up is that you have two branding opportunities for your event, the event banner and the event logo. So we've started you off with a default event banner, but please feel free to change it to something that's more representative of your brand or to differentiate your event. Similarly, you'll want to choose an event logo to help prospective attendees easily identify your event. Many pages and companies choose to use their company logo as a differentiator, so I'll go ahead and do that here with the LinkedIn logo as well. Great, that's looking good. All right, so I said I wanted to host an event like the one we're doing now. So I'll say how to use LinkedIn events with LinkedIn Live. And what you'll see here underneath is that for the organizer, we've already pre-filled this to be your page. And since I've created this within the admin view of the Golden Phase company page. And this will also show up in the attendee view as well. So prospective attendees can see that this event is hosted by the company Golden Phase as opposed to my personal LinkedIn account by Liz Lee. And what you'll see here then is that there's a toggle to indicate that this is an online event. You know, as Ting mentioned, like given the environment that we're in today, where almost all events are virtual, we've gone ahead and set this default to yes. But in the future, when physical events return, you can indicate that as well. And that'll enable different fields like location and venue details. But of course, this one is virtual, so we'll keep that there. The next field here is optional, and it's for a broadcast link. And so this is where you can add a link to a live stream or a webinar if you have that link ahead of time. You can also choose to add it in later. And for those of you who do have access to LinkedIn Live, know that you do not need to fill out this field. When you start streaming directly to this event, we will automatically notify your event attendees, which will land them directly into the live stream. And the LinkedIn Live will play directly within the event page itself. Great, so I will go ahead and set the time for my event to be a week from today. And then the next field here is description. So here's where you want to add details about your event. Like what are you going to talk about? What's the agenda? Who the speakers might be? And if there are any other logistics or details that might be relevant. For best practices, we actually recommend having this drafted up in a different document just so you can easily copy and paste into this form. So I'll go ahead and actually do that now. I've got my trusty description, similar to the one that we had today. And what we have up next is actually a ticketing website field. Excuse me. So I think in the event feed, Eduardo from Small LNG had asked if there's a way to charge for an online event. And so this field is the place where you can actually add a link to wherever prospective attendees may need to buy tickets to attend if your event is paid. In my case, for this demo, our event is free, and the only registration that's needed is just on LinkedIn via the attend button. So I'll go ahead and skip this, but please know that that is an option if you want to host a paid event. Lastly, you want to choose the visibility for your event. So just to go into this in a little bit more detail, public events are visible to anybody on LinkedIn. Excuse me, and anybody can choose to attend. So these events are found via type ahead in search, and they'll also be potentially recommended to prospective attendees within the My Network tab or on your company page itself. On the other hand, you'll want to choose a private event if you don't want your event to be searchable. For private events, all attendees need to actually be invited, or you as an organizer will have to approve those requests to attend. And in this case, we're hosting a public event, so I will leave this setting as is. And I think Marcus from the event feed had also asked if this visibility can be changed after event creation, and it cannot. So just make sure that as you're setting up your event, you select the right setting to start with. So I will go ahead and create. Awesome. So now what you see is that as soon as I've created my event, I'm actually prompted to share it to my Golden Phase page. And here I can actually choose to target my post to a specific audience if I choose. In this case, the topic of my event is pretty broad, right? How to use LinkedIn events with LinkedIn Live. So I'll go ahead and just leave this visibility to anyone. But again, please know that that is an option for you to do. And to give context, you'll see that the event is already sort of default filled here. And I'll just give some context on what this event is about. Learn more about the tighter integration between LinkedIn events and LinkedIn Live. And I'll go ahead and share that. Great. So what happens when I share this to the Golden Phase page is that all of my page followers can see it in the page feed. And I'll actually go ahead and show that to you as well. And so it'll be in my page feed. All the page followers will be able to see it. So this is the post that I just created. And a certain subset of my page followers will also be notified of that share as well. And that will help drive traffic to the event page. And as you consider how you might want to boost event registration, you might also want to consider using traditional demand gen tactics like email marketing and paid ads on LinkedIn. In fact, you can see I have this capability to actually sponsor this post right now. So great. So now that I've created my event, actually, let's go back into it. I'll actually want to grow my attendee list. And I'll do that by inviting my connections to attend this event. So what you see here is that you can notice that you can also filter your connections by their company or by industry. And that will just help you more easily find prospective attendees for your event. In my case, I'm pretty sure that my fellow hosts for this event, Ting and Sam and Ainsley, are interested, so I'll go ahead and invite them to the event. And you can't invite your page followers to the event directly, so do make sure that you share the event into your page feed as a way to drive traffic that way from your page followers. So last but certainly not least, don't forget to engage your audience after you've created your event. As the event organizer, you can start or contribute to existing conversations. And so we recommend that you encourage attendees to connect and engage with each other on the event page, even prior to the event. Or another opportunity is to collect questions that you'll then answer at the event, which is what I will go ahead and do here. So I will start a conversation. And so I've already got this mapped out again in my trusty doc. And so I will ask attendees to actually submit questions. So go ahead and do that here as well. And so once you've actually started a conversation, or if it's been some time since you've created the event and there have already been attendees that have come in and started asking questions or starting a conversation, I want to call out that as an organizer, you have the ability to recommend key posts in your feed to attendees up to 2 times per week. And the way you'll do that is you'll choose the post that you want to recommend. In this case, I definitely want to make sure that my attendees know that they can submit questions ahead of time. And you can go to the top right of the post in this overflow menu, and there is an option here to recommend this post. And doing so will notify your attendees of this post. So, okay, I'm running into a little bit difficulty, I think, with my my internet bandwidth. But what that will do will actually notify your attendees who have clicked attend for the event, and will give you the capability to do that 2 times per week. So great. Now I've taken all the key actions to set up my event for success. And what I want to do now is to actually show you how prospective attendees might discover my event, because that's a question that's actually come up before this session. So I think that Danielle from HSK had asked if there's a way to view the events hosted by a company and if there's anywhere else to browse events as an attendee. So to answer your first question, Danielle, yes, there is a way for you to show the events on your page. So I'll actually show you the Golden Phase page, and I will show you what the member view of that page looks like. So the view you saw before was admin view. Now I'm viewing this page as a member. And what you'll see is actually the event I had just created in this upcoming events module. You see a duplicate here just because I was testing this out yesterday and forgot to delete that event. But this is where up to 2 events will show in this module. And additionally, we're also in the process of rolling out an event discovery feature on the My Network tab, actually, where prospective attendees can also see online event recommendations there. So as the event comes up, please continue to engage with your attendees within the event feed and build up excitement. On the day of the event, if you've chosen to pair LinkedIn Live with your LinkedIn event, go ahead, open your third-party broadcast tool, select the event that you'd like to stream to in order to start the stream in your event feed. And that will then trigger a notification to all of your event attendees, and the live stream will automatically play within the event feed as well. And after the event, anybody who clicked attend can watch the replay off of this event page as well, and they can also interact with and see all the associated comments. So that's all I have for the demo, Ting. Back to you.
Liz, that was really great. And I was just looking at the comments. There are so many questions and so much engagement, which is, I'm just so happy to see. It sounds like a lot of you guys are thinking about hosting events on LinkedIn, which we're really excited about. And so now I'd love to switch gears and actually focus the rest of our discussion on the questions you guys have. And we've been checking in. We're seeing there's a lot of great questions, but perhaps we're going to start by talking about some of our most frequently asked questions, because these are the ones that we hear all the time and want to make sure you guys actually get those perspectives we have to offer. Now, the very first question we get asked very frequently is, what are your best practices and tips for hosting events on LinkedIn, right? Are there specific things you should be doing? What should we be paying attention to? And they're wondering if we have a LinkedIn perspective to offer. And so this sounds like a really good question, actually, for our event marketers, Sam and Ainsley, who both have hosted multiple events on our platform. And would just love to hear you guys' take on how you approach the full event planning lifecycle using LinkedIn events, and kind of share with us what you're thinking about before, during, and after an event. Could you guys share any advice you might have for us?
Absolutely, I can kick it off. Just to provide a little bit of background, like Ting said, we launched a new Q&A series called TA Community Conversations using LinkedIn events. And the goal of this series was really to provide a platform for talent professionals to come together, ask questions, and navigate this new normal that we have with the help of a community. So with that in mind, we knew we wanted to take a targeted approach, really talk to our customers and our community, and focus on quality engagement. So we decided to leverage LinkedIn events and also use that LinkedIn Live integration. In terms of best practices, I would say make sure that you're engaging your attendees pre-event, post-event, during the event. One of the key benefits, especially to us, is the event page really provides ample runway for engagement with attendees at every stage of the event. So before the event, we are kicking off conversations on the page. Attendees are sharing that they're excited. They're tagging other people that might want to attend. We're recommending posts with polls, asking attendees what they're most interested about in hearing from us. And we're actually using that to kind of shape the conversation of our next episode, which we're excited about. And then also sharing relevant resources. So you are the expert. You want to share the stuff that you are going to talk about and use that event page as a platform to do so. We're using articles. We're sharing other things that we're producing on that page just to make it as rich and an engaging of a place for our attendees as possible. during the event, engaging with viewers like people are right now on the LinkedIn Live comments. And then after event, we post feedback surveys. We keep engagement going even after an event, and I think that's one of the most exciting things about this platform.
Thank you so much. And any advice that you might also add on top of that, Sam?
Yeah, definitely. So much like Ainsley and her team, we are also running a series to help support organizations during this time and making our people science experts available to the broader community. And so in order to run this series, we really wanted to have a platform that really gave a wide reach, and we could really engage a lot of our followers and people within the HR community. And so we found that LinkedIn events and utilizing LinkedIn Live with LinkedIn events was the perfect platform for us. We used a lot of the same tactics that Ainsley used, in addition to some of your more traditional marketing tactics, such as using the URL to send out the link in emails, in paid advertisements, having our colleagues promote the event all over their LinkedIn network pages as well. And I think the main thing for us that we really enjoy about this so far is that, as you saw during the demo, all of the events are displayed in one place on the company page. And at this moment, we're using both LinkedIn events and LinkedIn Live, but also an outside webinar platform for lead generation. And so we wanted to make sure there was that one hub that people could go to see all the events that we're hosting. And so it's really great that we're able to detail that on our company page, on the Glint page. And we're super excited for when LinkedIn events does have the lead generation and nurture program coming later. So we can't wait for that feature to drop.
Thank you so much, Sam. We'll touch more on what's coming in the roadmap, because that's a question I see actually being asked pretty frequently right now by folks in the chat. So thank you, both of you. That was really helpful and actionable advice you guys all shared. And I'm hoping those in the audience are walking away with some tactics they can try out. And so the next question actually is very related to what you're just talking about, Sam, which is what's next on our virtual events roadmap? We get this question all the time. And so Liz, this sounds like a good question for you.
Sure. Sorry. Sure. As Sam mentioned, we are working on better ways to help you do lead gen and lead capture, as well as actually having a specific event ad format. A couple other things working on are that we will have we actually have this live already, which is a video tab on your company page that'll automatically pull in any LinkedIn Live video streams that you've done to your page. That module that we showed you that had just the sort of 2 events highlighted, we're also working on a full tab on your company page so you can see the full sort of slate of upcoming events. And we're also making it easier for prospective attendees to search for events as they try to discover the events that they're interested in attending. So that's just a glimpse of what we have ahead, but this is definitely just the start.
Thanks so much, Liz. All right, so those are the most frequently asked questions that I wanted to make sure we cover, but there's actually questions that we received from our audience actually directly from our event page. It's been actually blowing up with comments and questions, and so we pulled some that we thought were really good ones to that we expected people would ask as well. And so the first question comes from Eduardo, who asks, and I see a lot of folks are asking this right now in chat as well, how fast is the approval process for LinkedIn Live? So great question. We hear this very often. And currently, we're working through a pretty large backlog because there's been a lot of applications since we launched last week. But we anticipate the turnaround time to be typically about 1 week or less moving forward. And right now, we don't have the time to send an email indicating if you haven't been approved. And so if you don't hear back from us, just make sure that you try again, perhaps in a couple months, just to give you some more background on exactly what we're looking for when it comes to LinkedIn Live. Approvals is really 2 things. First of all, we're looking for brands that already have established strong engagement with their audiences, brands that post weekly, if not daily, and actually ask questions of their audience and actually respond back to the comments. That kind of engagement is key for standing out with LinkedIn Live, but also just key for standing out in the feed. So continued engagement is something we look for. The second thing we look for is that you've had at some point leveraged organic video on our platform. If you haven't ever used video before, it's quite hard to go from never having done it to suddenly live streaming. And so posting, a couple organic videos in the past, that's definitely going to help accelerate your approval. The next question that we saw from our events page is from David, who asks, he says he's curious if we can integrate multiple hosts within one live stream. So for example, you have a guest in LA and someone else is in Amsterdam. Can they all be in the same live stream? And the answer is yes. A number of our third-party broadcast tools allow for remote guesting directly from their software interface, including StreamYard, Switcher, and Social Live. And so if you actually visit our best practices website that I'll link to later, we have an infographic that's actually going to kind of share like the different types of features you have with different solutions. Sorry, my alarm is going off. Just one second. Sorry about that, guys. All right. And the last question that I'm going to share from our events page is from Marcus. And he asks us, how can you start a live stream within an event? Perhaps, Liz, you can talk to us more about that.
Sure. So as Ting mentioned, we do have an approval process. And so as long as your page has been approved for access, and you will be notified about that, and you're using one of the 4 broadcast tools that have enabled this integration, and today that is Restream, StreamYard, Wirecast, and Social Live, you'll see an option to stream from an event. And if you want a little bit more details or even a demo video, you can go to the FAQ in our Help Center, where we'll have more information specifically on how to go about doing that.
Thanks, Liz. All right, so now we're actually going to move to the questions that we're seeing as part of our live event. And I see there's a lot of great questions. I'm just trying to make sure I ask the questions that seem to be the most popular. So I think this one we've already talked about, but I think it's worth emphasizing. Kong asks us, can you capture attendee info such as name, email, and company with LinkedIn Events or LinkedIn Live? What I want to share with you that right now with LinkedIn Events, what you'll capture is a list of attendees who attended your event. That's what we have to start. Later on in this year, we're going to be introducing lead gen form integrations, which will actually allow you to capture much more detailed info such as name, email, and company. So please be on the lookout. I also want to emphasize that what Liz has just demoed with you guys is literally just the beginning. We are at the very beginning of creating a much more robust experience where you guys can, retarget people who attended your event, capture leads. And so be on the lookout, because throughout the year, we're going to continue to innovate new ways to bring brands and members together. Here's a really great question from Elton, who asks, is there an effective framework for running LinkedIn events and LinkedIn Live? So perhaps I'll just start off by saying that I want to emphasize again that LinkedIn Events and LinkedIn Live solve for very different objectives. LinkedIn Live is all about top funnel marketing, really about brand awareness and driving viewership with as many members as possible. It can be discovered by anyone and it can go viral. So it's really best for top funnel. LinkedIn Events is really much better for mid-funnel marketing, where you have an audience that may already be familiar with you and you just want to strengthen that relationship and get them to take a specific action. And so again, an example would be like a webinar or a product demo where you can show prospects how to more meaningfully use your products to achieve certain goals. And so one major difference I want to emphasize again is that with LinkedIn Events, only those who you invited to your event can view the content, whereas with Live, anyone can view it. So that's a framework to leverage potentially, is like the top funnel versus mid funnel. And again, Live is best for top funnel and LinkedIn Events is best for mid funnel. And I want to just ask perhaps Ainsley or Sam, anything else you'd add on top of that as far as frameworks for how you think about leveraging Live versus events in your experience?
I can just reiterate what you said. So we are looking at the events as a place to have this like informal, organic conversation with our existing customers. We want to make sure it's a community play and it feels specific to those folks. And so that's why we're leveraging events for this versus Live, where it's casting a wide net, where we'd use other things, more thought leadership pieces on our LinkedIn talent page.
Yeah, and we're the exact same as well. We actually have a group on LinkedIn that we promote all these events in, and it's called the People Success Forum, and it's specifically for, HR leaders who are looking for that additional support during the COVID-19 crisis. And so these events that we're creating for them to kind of give me that ask me anything feel is definitely, we're using that to promote in that group.
Thanks, Ainsley and Sam. This next question comes from Andrew. It's a really good one. And he asks, what is the recommended lead time for creating an event? How early out should you consider doing it? And so I can share my point of view, but I also love for Ainsley and Sam to pitch in with anything they might have seen. But my point of view is that typically about T-7 days from your event, about a week. Sometimes if you do it too far out, like a couple weeks before, it might not be top of mind. So just from my experience, I think about a week. But Ainsley or Sam, anything you might want to add to that?
You hit it right on the north. Absolutely right. So we We have a bi-weekly series, and so we try to promote about a week out, and then we continue throughout that week as the reminders for attendees.
Yeah, exactly. Ours is a weekly series, so we just do it a week out so that we have the next event ready once our, that week event is finished. And I have to say the notifications that get sent out to those who are interested in registering in the event are super helpful to make sure that they're engaged and know the event is coming up shortly.
Thank you, guys. And this question is a very popular one from Aaron, and it's around what are the best ways to promote your LinkedIn event? Ainsley or Sam, any tips you guys have from hosting events on our platform?
Yeah, I would, similar to Sam, we use traditional marketing channels for promoting our LinkedIn Live series. One of the most effective was a simple email invite, just like you would do for any other webinar, just using that event URL link. And so we saw like a ton of traffic from that. And we also saw a good amount of traffic from having our speakers share with their other, share on their LinkedIn platforms and other social channels. And so those two were real winners for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll just repeat what Ainsley said. Those were really great channels for us as well. Obviously, sharing it on our Glint company page was really helpful. And most of our Glint colleagues have been in the HR space for quite a while. So sharing the event with their networks has been really a nice promotion for us.
Nice. Those are some really good tips. Something I might also recommend is you actually have a dedicated event landing page, which is awesome, that you can leverage as a way to generate excitement with your attendees beforehand. One thing to do if you want to really promote your event is you can take that unique URL and actually promote it within the feed using sponsored content. So you can run ads to drive people to your event page, and that would actually increase your reach beyond your immediate followers. And so that's another idea to consider. All right, this next question comes from Mateus, and it's a really good one about, is it possible to host an event directly within a closed LinkedIn group? So that's a question actually perhaps Liz can talk to us about more about what's on the roadmap.
Sure. So this isn't currently possible right now, but it is something that we're starting to hear a little bit more about. So we are looking at exploring it. If the goal here is to have more privacy around the event, I might recommend that you actually create a private event that you can then actually post into your group. And as I mentioned earlier, with the link, anybody can actually go and request to attend, and then just the organizer will have to approve the attendance. But great question.
All right, this question comes from Marcus around hosting a private event. And so his question is, the live stream will only be shown within the event page, or is it also shown on the company page afterwards? Liz, can you share more context on that?
Sure. So for the private event, and even for a public event today, the live stream will only be shown within the event page. The difference with the private event, as I mentioned, is that you will either have to explicitly invite attendees, or if they have the link to your event, they can't just click attend. Clicking attend will actually generate a request that the organizer then has to approve. But yeah, so the live stream will just be on the event page for attendees to be able to view and replay.
Thanks, Liz. Now, this next question comes from Giovanni, and he asks, what partners integrate with LinkedIn Live? Any that allow me to get more data on those who view the stream? So this is a great question that Liz had touched on earlier, but it's definitely worth emphasizing that we have over 10 partners that integrate with LinkedIn Live. And the most commonly used ones are Restream, StreamYard, Wirecast, and Switcher Studio. And again, at the very end of the stream, we'll be sharing a link to our best practices site, which has an infographic around all of these partners and the different types of service models and pricing models you can expect. So definitely check that out if you're considering which type of partner you want to leverage. And we also, on our own platform, offer a pretty robust amount of reach, engagement, and firmographic data on each live stream. And you can access this actually via your post after your broadcast ends. Now, this question is something we've been hearing a lot. I think it's a really good ask. It comes from Gabe, and he says, is there a way or a button that we can add this event to our calendars as well so we don't forget, or our attendees don't forget? Liz, can you talk more about if that might be something we're considering in the future?
Sure. So we actually do have this add to calendar functionality on our mobile apps. If you tap on the time in the event page, it'll pop up a way for you to add to calendar on mobile. We don't yet have this functionality on desktop, but we're definitely working on doing so easily. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Great. And this next question comes from Andrew, which actually is becoming more of a trend that I've been noticing, which is that there's companies that actually host series, right? They'll host a weekly series every Monday. They go live, and they're wondering, do we have to create a new event page every single time we host a new series, right? As part of the overall program. And the answer is that right now, because we don't have functionality that allows for you to basically create one page for multiple events, we would actually recommend that you create separate events for each event in your series. Otherwise, it might mess up the amount of notifications that your attendees are experiencing. And in the future, we are considering building some kind of functionality to support series-based content. All right, just looking through to see if there are any more questions that we can answer. This question, let's see, comes from Frank, who is asking, what software are we currently using right now? And so right now we're actually using StreamYard. It's been working very well for us, but as we mentioned, there's 10 other partners you can consider. So definitely check out our best practices site that breaks down each partner and what you can expect. I'm also seeing that there's a question from Fabio who's asking, is it possible to broadcast at the same time from our profile for LinkedIn Live? And as well as is it possible to broadcast at the same time from our profile with LinkedIn Live and also with LinkedIn events? And so perhaps Liz, is something you can talk about, whether or not you can broadcast through both?
Sure, yeah, so that's something that we don't actively encourage. So as Ting mentioned, broadcasting LinkedIn Live to a page or to an event really has different sorts of objectives. LinkedIn Live, because it is sort of publicly visible and easily discoverable, is really for sort of that top of funnel, versus for an event, it's really constrained at this point in time to your event attendees. So it's not something that we really encourage at this point.
Got it, thank you. And actually, a question that I've been seeing pretty frequently that I'd love to kind of get Sam and Ainsley's perspective on is post-event, right? We all know post-event activities are crucial to proving out ROI. Can you walk us through kind of your process for after event ends? What are the key things you're paying attention to? How are you currently kind of thinking about how to prove out the ROI of your event?
Yeah, so like we said, engagement is a huge metric for us to look at, especially for LinkedIn events. And so we're looking at engagement not only on the LinkedIn live stream that we have within that event page, but also on all the comments pre and post event. And so we're making sure we're capturing that and sharing that out with our team. And then also we share a feedback survey on the LinkedIn page after to get more qualitative feedback on how it went. And we're actually considering posting a poll next time just to make it even simpler for somebody to give your feedback on one of our events.
Yeah, definitely. And those are great tactics that we use as well. Another thing is obviously sharing resources on that page post-event that were talked about in the stream that maybe weren't shared during the live event. And then other things we're doing is just posting in the event page again after event to ensure those who couldn't make the live stream that they can still see the video on the event page so that they can go and rewatch it at their leisure.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Can you also talk more about how you think about driving up engagement during the event? Because I know that's crucial, right? Because engagement rate is important. Like, how are you doing it during the event?
Similar to how you're doing it now, wonderfully, I might add. We're really asking the people who are viewing the event to post in their questions. So we are hosting a Q&A series, and so the Q is really important. We want to make sure that we're answering the questions from our audience and from our customer base. So we're making sure that we have questions beforehand that we've pulled from the event page, but also during the live section in the comments.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ainsley. And I just want to emphasize that point as well. A lot of folks ask, I didn't get approved for live. How do I host a live event better? It all really comes down to engaging your audience, right? And that's why it's one of the key things we look for when we approve applications is you really have to be engaging your audience on a regular basis. Not even just during your live stream, but just on your page. If people leave comments, you should respond back. People, have a question, you should definitely answer. And so these are the key things that will not only help you win with your LinkedIn live stream, but just help you win in our feed and stand out overall. Let's see. There is a question from Margarita on, is there a cost for using LinkedIn events? So very happy to share that LinkedIn events is completely free to use. If you are going to leverage LinkedIn Live, though, as a way to stream your event, there is a cost for the third-party tool. You don't have to use LinkedIn Live, but if you do, there is a cost to use one of the 10 partners that I had mentioned earlier. Hope that makes sense. Juliana asks, is there a way to send an invite for all followers of the page to join the event? Liz, do you want to take this one from a product perspective and share the reasoning on that?
Sure, yeah. So we don't allow you to send invitations to all your page followers at the moment. And the reason for this is really we want to protect the member experience. Many pages have thousands and thousands of followers. And we want to make sure that followers of your page don't get sort of notification or invitation fatigue. And so really the best way to make sure that your page followers have visibility into the event is what I shared in the demo, which is to go ahead and share that event into your page feed. And so there, it'll actually be sort of permanently accessible in the feed for your page followers to see. They'll be able to see it in the upcoming events module. And we will actually notify a subset of your page followers, the ones that are most engaged and most relevant. And we will actually notify them of that share. And so that's the recommended practice that we have right now for getting your page followers to the event.
Thanks, Liz. I also see a good question from Jacob, who asked, can live or events generate any kind of metrics on the audience at post-event? Also, can I create polls for the audience? So yes and yes, you can create polls in your event feed, which is really exciting because I know that was an ask from a lot of folks. And for LinkedIn Live, you can see some very robust metrics, such as your overall reach, some key engagement metrics, such as the maximum number of the peak number of viewers that actually were attending your event live, as well as firmographic data on your audiences, such as their job function, level of seniority, location, etc. So these are all available post your live stream. I see that Harpreet has also asked a good question, which is how many people maximum can attend a LinkedIn event? Liz, can you please share your perspective on that?
Sure. So right now, the maximum that we've set is 5,000, but we are looking at possibly increasing that. Would love to hear from you all, actually, the types of events that you guys would have that could be beyond that limit. But right now, it's 5,000.
All right. Thank you. And taking a look through the rest of the questions, I think I think we've answered like a good chunk of them because a lot of these questions are on the same themes. But I'm just wondering, is there any final thoughts you might want to add, Sam or Ainsley, just from a event marketing best practice that you feel like we haven't covered?
I think we covered quite a bit, but I would say take the time to engage on the page. I think that's really key for us, and it's one of the KPIs for us. We want to make sure that that's over to you as well. If you can engage with your audience, it really adds to the dynamic of event pages.
Definitely. And we had also, during the event, we had some Glint moderators helping, hype up the viewers who are watching and engage with them to make sure that they felt more comfortable also engaging on the comment section of the stream. And then I'll just reiterate, the analytics that are provided post-event on the video and viewerships are super helpful to us in terms of proving why an event is successful and why we should keep doing it. So those have been super helpful as well.
Thanks, guys. And with that said, I actually have a couple tips that I think is worth sharing as well for how you can drive engagement actually even after the event is over. And so generally speaking, for events and for live streams, they're pretty long, right? This is about an hour long. I've seen live streams that go about an hour and a half. And so it's really hard for someone to watch the entire content of what you're creating. And so one thing that I've seen a lot of brands do, and it's very smart, is after the event, they'll actually splice the content into like a highlight reel, which you can actually do very easily within LinkedIn Live itself. We have a trimming feature, so you can trim, the highlights of your event or your live stream into a highlight reel, and you can actually pin that video, that highlight reel, to the very top of your new video tab, right? Because right now there's a new video tab for all pages, and you can pin that highlight reel to the very top. And so you can get generate a lot of interest, perhaps with future audiences, right? They see, wow, this is really cool that this company is producing this type of content. I really want to make sure I go to the next one. That's a great way to kind of start to think about like long-term viewership, is creating like a best of highlight reel. And something else I might mention is, oftentimes when people host events or when they host LinkedIn Lives, they're actually bringing on guests, people who have networks. And so make sure that you mention them when you write your post about your LinkedIn Live or LinkedIn event stream. So that way they can reshare it very easily with their networks to help you really drive that organic awareness. All right, guys. So that's about all the time, I would say, advice that we have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It really means a lot that you took about an hour out of your day to be here with us and learn about LinkedIn virtual events. And I want to say a tremendous thank you to Liz, Ainsley, and Sam for being our resident experts. They really provided some really actionable advice, and I hope you guys all have something that you can start testing as soon as this live stream is over. Now, if you missed any part of the stream or if you joined late, don't worry, you can always watch the replay. And as I mentioned, for those who are interested in learning more about LinkedIn events or LinkedIn Live, please be sure to visit the site that's currently on the screen. And so you can easily access our LinkedIn Pages best practices and playbook from the site that's on the screen, but it's also going to be linked in the live stream caption. And finally, if you are a LinkedIn page admin who's watching this, please consider joining our LinkedIn page admin group, which is a community we've created to share best practices and get feedback from you guys on what more we could do to really optimize the pages experience. We'd love to have you as part of our group, so please join. It's on the screen, and also you can find it in the live stream caption. All right, guys, it's been absolutely wonderful spending this past hour with you. I hope you're all doing well and that you're all staying safe. We can't wait for you guys to join us for our next product release. Thank you so much.